Reddit. What's a seemingly mundane interaction you had that, in retrospect, was incredibly unsettling? Ask Reddit. This happened about 5 years ago, and it still gives me a weird little shiver whenever I think about it. I was sitting in a local coffee shop waiting for my friend to show up, absolutely stressing because I was convinced I'd lost my house keys. I had a flight in a few hours, and without those keys, my house sitter couldn't get in. I'd torn my apartment apart, checked my bag a dozen times, and was mentally replaying my morning commute, getting more frantic by the second. I was definitely muttering to myself, probably a little too loudly, running my hands through my hair in frustration. Across the room, an older woman, probably in her late 70s, was sitting alone, sipping tea. She had kind eyes, silver hair pulled back in a neat bun, and a faded floral scarf. I didn't think much of it until she caught my eye and offered a small, gentle smile. I weakly smiled back, probably looking like a deer in headlights. Then, without breaking eye contact, she leaned forward just a fraction, barely audible over the whir of the coffee grinder. She said, "Don't fret about the keys, dear. They're exactly where you left them, just not where you thought you left them. Check the pocket of your old blue jacket, the one you tossed on the chair this morning. They fell right out." I blinked. My old blue jacket? I hadn't even worn a blue jacket that morning. I was wearing a gray hoodie. I mumbled, I don't have a blue jacket." She just chuckled, a soft, knowing sound, and took another sip of her tea, her gaze drifting out the window. My friend arrived a minute later, distracting me completely. I ended up borrowing my friend's spare set of keys for the house sitter and went to the airport, still panicking about my own. When I got home a week later, utterly exhausted, I remembered the woman. Out of sheer curiosity, I walked into my bedroom. There, draped over a desk chair, was my old blue denim jacket, one I hadn't worn in months but had somehow picked up and thrown there that very morning without thinking after realizing my gray hoodie was too warm. And in the left pocket, my keys, exactly where she said. It still gives me chills to think about. How could she have possibly known about a jacket I hadn't worn in ages, that I'd randomly picked up that morning, and that my keys had fallen into its pocket? I never saw her again, just a fleeting, unsettlingly precise encounter.